Hi everyone, this is another list, the greatest American rock bands of all time. And I haven't gone through the list yet, but I'm hoping, I highly doubt Sparks will be on the list. They're, after the Beatles, they're my favorite band. But Grand Funk Railroad should be on the list. I mean, We're an American Band is such a well-known song. Blue Oyster Cult, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Those are the ones that come to mind. Of course, the Eagles. I'm not a big fan of the Eagles, but they should be on the list. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So let's see. The Beach Boys. That's another one. It's the Beach Boys, yeah. Yeah, I like, not everything they've done, but I like their 60s hits. Of course, Pet Sounds, for me, is one of the greatest albums ever. And I also love their album Friends and, a few more of their albums. But like I said, not everything they've done is great. But Brian Wilson is definitely a musical genius. Yes. Creedence Clearwater Revival, definitely one of my favorite American bands. Even, you know, even their last album, Mardi Gras, I know a lot of fans think it's a really bad album, but even that album has some great songs like Someday Never Comes, Sweet Hitchhiker. I even love Stu Cook's Door to Door. So, half of the album is pretty good. My favorite, though, is probably Cosmos Factory and also Bio Country. Yep, the Eagles. Of course, they'd be on the list. Yep, Bruce Springsteen. Uh, my favorite album of his, besides Born to Run, would probably be. Oh, there's a few, but I think my favorite is Tunnel of Love. Van Halen. Yeah. They, for me, I loved their debut album, and then I kind of lost interest in them after that. Leonard Skinnerd, another band. I never really bought any of their albums, but, I respect them and very sad, their story, of course. And some great songs Sweet Home Alabama, Free Bird, a few others. And the great Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, yeah. I never I never heard one bad song from Tom Petty. Maybe he has one, but from all the music I've heard from him and the Heartbreakers, it's all been really good. Yep, ZZ Top. I think I don't know. I think they should have stopped after Dusty Hill passed away. But they're continuing. My favorite, I love their early albums, and then of course Eliminator is great too. Aerosmith, I like early Aerosmith. My favorite is Toys in the Attic. And then they got just a little too commercial for me. Not really a big fan of Heart, but of course, very talented. And Nancy Wilson and the band, of course. I do like their early music, like Magic Man and a few others. Kiss always has to make any list almost, good or bad. Yeah, I like their debut album and Hotter Than Hell and Dressed to Kill, Kiss Alive. But my favorite is the debut album. And then after that, I kind of gave up on them. Bob Seager, great. Yep. Night Moves, many other great songs. I don't see any Grand Funk Railroad yet, or Blue Oyster Cult, or Sparks. Steve Miller Band, yep. The Joker. The Doors. Yeah, I'm doing a video on my other channel today, reading some comments. And one of the comments was something like, nobody over the age of 21 should listen to the Doors. Whatever that means. I love the Doors. The Allman Brothers Band, once again, never bought any of their albums, but they're great, of course, and I respect them. And rest in peace. I know Dickie Betts just passed away recently. Ramones. It's actually not the Ramones, from what I remember. I think it's just Ramones. And I love their debut album. That's my favorite. And then I kind of lost interest in them after like 3 or 4 albums, but they were great. Alice Cooper, yeah, the Alice Cooper Band, have all of their albums. I never really followed Alice Cooper's solo career, but I totally respect Alice Cooper. And he still puts on a great live show today. Jimi Hendrix, of course. Yep. My favorite is his debut album. Elvis Presley, yes. Santana. Yeah, I like their first 3 or 4 albums. The Grateful Dead. My buddy Glenn Kellaway from the Basements, one of his favorite bands. I like a little bit of their music, but I've never been a big fan. The Stooges. Yeah, they're good. I have their first 2 albums that were gifted to me. Nirvana, of course, or Nirvana. Yeah, it's so sad what happened with Kurt that I very rarely listen to their music. It's just kind of depressing. Love Talking Heads. My favorite album is Fear of Music. Yeah. The Doobie Brothers. Yeah, I liked the early Doobie Brothers before Michael McDonald took over. Boston. I think everybody loves at least the Boston debut album. One of the greatest debut albums ever. Pearl Jam. Yeah, they have a new album out. I was really into them for a few years with like Vitology and No Code. And then albums after that, I just kind of lost interest in them. I didn't find them that exciting. But I heard a song from their new album and it was very good. Of course, Fleetwood Mac, they're partially American with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. My favorite album, besides Rumors, of course, but I think I like Tusk even more than Rumors. Journey, never really a fan of Journey. or Red Hot Chili Peppers. But, great musicians, of course. Yeah, Jefferson Airplane. My favorite album of theirs is Volunteers. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Yeah. It's funny though, like, in the late 60s, early 70s, they were all promoting love and everything. And then, the last few years before David Crosby passed away, of course, they were all bickering with each other. Soundgarden, never really bought any of their albums, but great vocalist Chris Cornell. Not really a fan of Steely Dan, except, some songs I did like, but the Byrds, yeah, the Byrds were great. Still don't see any Grand Funk Railroad or Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah, Bon Jovi. I'm not a fan of Bon Jovi at all. I don't really care for their music. It's just too commercial and poppy for me. But I'm watching a documentary on Disney about them. I'm on, I think, the fourth part of it. And it's actually very good. And, I respect, the band and everything they've gone through. And it's pretty good. So I recommend it. Yeah, I love the Velvet Underground and Lou Reed. I think that's probably it. No, the White Stripes. Never really. I never bought any of their albums, but I do like Jack White. Chuck Berry, of course. Buffalo Springfield, they were great. Love Neil Young also. Never got into Alice in Chains. REM. My favorite album of theirs is Automatic for the People. Pavement, never bought any of their albums. Or Black Flag. Metallica, yeah, I respect them. Just not one of my favorite bands, to listen to. They Might Be Giants. Yeah, I like some of their stuff. And they opened for Sparks last year at the Hollywood Bowl. The Replacements, never... I've heard their music, but I never bought any of their albums. Smashing Pumpkins, I do. I like some of their music. Not a fan of Guns N' Roses, I'm sorry. The Dead Kennedys, no, never listened to. Tool, Morris Gautreaux, one of my subscribers. I think he's a fan. I like them. Pixies, Doolittle, that album I like. That's about all I've heard by them, though. Garbage, never got into Garbage. That sounds funny saying that. Sonic Youth, never got into them. Faith No More, I like them, yeah. And speaking of Sparks, they did a couple of songs with Sparks. Something for the Girl with Everything and This Town Ain't Big Enough for Both of Us on their Plagiarism album. System of a Down I never got into. Foo Fighters, I respect. Not really a big fan of their music, though. Blondie was good in the 80s. Yeah. Lots of bands. Green Day, never really a fan. Except for a few songs. No, Rage Against the Machine. I'm not seeing Grand Funk Railroad or Blue Oyster Cult. That's it. Yeah. So, not a bad list, but like I said, where's Grand Funk Railroad? They are so disrespected. Yeah, they're not even in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. And they were one of the biggest bands in the early 70s. And then, of course, Blue Oyster Cult and Sparks. Bands that have been making great albums for years and years and years. Yeah, and they always say, like, this list, the greatest American rock bands. And then they have, solo artists like Chuck Berry. It's a little silly, but that's it. I would love your thoughts. What other great American bands are missing from this list? Let me know. Please remember to like the video and subscribe. Thank you.